Dua, dear friends, delegates, and organizers. I'm very delighted and elevated that more than 155 delegates have already joined. And we have very dynamic listener and delegates and attendee. We have Dr. Mudda, we have Mr. Yogin Majumdar, Mr. M. Naran Reddy from Virtual Group. We have Mr. Vinod Kalani, we have Mr. Venkat Jasti, we have Mr. Yugal Sikri, such a dynamic audience. So it gives a lot of encouragement and a lot of incentive when you speak. The title of today's webinar is towards US dollar 372 billion Indian healthcare and medical device industry. It looks very attractive. When I calculated the 372 billion into Indian rupee, meri khushi ka ठिकाना नहीं रहा. So there is a saying, where there is a will, there is a way. जहाँ चाहा, वहाँ रहा. जहाँ इच्छा शक्ति है, वहाँ कुछ भी असंभव नहीं है. But I have kept my title of the discussion totally different. I'm deviating from the usual rituals. I have kept it 2020 because I'll be speaking many places 20 points. So I have kept it like a 2020 match. And some of the friends may not like some of the criticism of the working, but whatever I am going to say, it is from my heart only. Similarly, as far as pharmaceutical industry is concerned, the 372 billion what we are talking in today's webinar is with regard to healthcare and medical device put together. But when we talk about the pharmaceutical industry, today, as Dr. Dua has narrated, 40 to 43 billion US dollars worth of business we are doing, both domestic as well as export. And by 2025, I personally feel we can do more than double. So it means we are going to be a 25 to 30% kitty from pharma sector is going to be in the 372 billion. Now, first, I would like to narrate that the government expectation, even Dr. Dua also most of the time talks about the 10 to 12% increase possibility in the business. But I personally feel if we really, today's webinar is going to be very crucial. I am going to speak from the core of my heart. And if we really take it seriously, we can do wonders. I personally feel the percentage can touch 18 to 20% growth is possible. The reason I'm going to give, the solution I'm going to give, now left is to the government whether they accept those recommendations or not. Now, why I say that 18 to 20% possibility of growth is there, this particular pharma industry. Number one reason is a global population increase is a well-known fact. Number two reason is changing lifestyle. When I say changing lifestyle, I don't talk about the India, I'm talking about the entire world. That is also one of the reasons the demand of the medicine is going to increase. The third reason is out of 211 countries, almost 205 to 206 countries are sourcing from us. The reason is we are not only efficacious, not only quality, we are also affordable. The next is many barriers to free trade have been removed. This is well-known fact. The fifth reason is we are the only country which talks about the affordability. See, European countries, regulatory countries, they also give quite substantial quality product. But when we talk about the affordability, I think other than India, nobody is there. That is why almost 99% of the world population is willing to accept our product. The sixth reason is out of 65% rural population, Indian pharma industry has been able to enter almost 17 to 18% rural area. Balance 47, 48% is untapped. If industry becomes serious, we can enter into more segment area which is untapped. The seventh reason is Government of India new health policy was announced when Mr. JP Nadda was the health minister. Earlier, they used to have 1% of the GDP was the budget allocation, and they announced from 1% to 2.5%. It means by 2025, the increase of budget is going to be 150% more than what we were having. And already government is serious towards that. The next is increase in the disposable income. This is the eighth reason. Everybody knows the disposable income of individual slowly and gradually going up. Ninth reason is Jan Aushadhi scheme of the government. And 10th reason is generic movement of Government of India. From time to time there is, one day will come when generic will become a generic. And 11th, the reason is Ayushman Bharat. 50 crore population of India, which is almost, you can say 35%, is covered under that, which is going to be a quite substantial percentage. The next is large number of patent products, which normally Dr. Dinesh Dua in his presentation has mentioned. From 2018 to 2025, 251 billion worth of US dollar worth of products are going to be off patent. Even as a fraction of that share comes to India, we are going to be very lucky. Then biosimilar, also Dr. Dua has touched, is another area which is picking up momentum. And free distribution of medicine by Government of India Wellness Center is also one of the reasons the increase will be there. An increasing trend of elderly population in India is another area. See, till now, we were the young country. 65% of the population was 35 years and below. But now the trend has changed. Now it is reversing. Now more people are becoming older. So that is also one of the reasons. And one reason is that rising healthcare spending by individuals, self-medication, and awareness. Now people know, I have to take this medicine. Earlier, people were totally dependent either on chemist or on doctor or on any of the person who is little educated. But now awareness is there, and increasing rapid urbanization. लोग गांव से अब शहर की तरफ जा रहे हैं, तो उसका भी एक कारण है, डिमांड बढ़ रही है. And increase in the government spending on national rural health management is also one of the reasons. And 19th reason is increase in the spending of national health insurance program of government of India is also another reason. And last 20th reason is intention of the government. If you see today's government working, if you go 10 years back, 15 years back, 20 years back, the intention of the government has changed. So that is also one of the reasons. Now I have mentioned 20 reasons for the growth. Now question comes, how to achieve? See, after all, 372 billion also we are talking. And I'm talking about the 100 billion for pharmaceutical industry in another 5-6 years. So how to achieve? Now I will give 20 solutions also to achieve. There is going to be little criticism also of the working. There are many friends from government in the audience. There are few regulators also. But I am going to speak. कहते हैं जो भी बोलूंगा दिल से बोलूंगा, दिल से सिवा कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा, सच बोलूंगा, सच के सिवा कुछ नहीं बोलूंगा, और जो अंतरात्मा कहेगी वो बोलूंगा. Because every suggestion is going to be constructive suggestion. It is overall in the interest of the nation. Now, first reason is government has to. Dr. Dinesh Dua also same language he used. Government has to work with us as a partner or as a facilitator. Regulatory one department is enough. NPPA is a regulatory, and this CDSU as a regulatory, but sometimes we are being dealt by other department also as a regulator. So government has to come forward as a partner. The second solution is red tapeism. Lal Pitashai is a big obstacle in the growth of the country. I will give you the reason later. The third is there are more than 40 departments which are governing the pharmaceutical industry. Is it justifiable? The fourth is single window system. We have been talking about single window. I think half of the audience may not really know the real definition of single window. So Piyush Goyal ji, Commerce Minister, last week I heard one of his statements, government is now seriously working. If single window system in real sense, because I have seen Chinese single window system. When you go there, all the 4 departments are sitting together. Every clearance is given on the spot. There is no, you don't have to go and do the licensing or follow up. And the deemed approval, now that concept is also entering into India. Telangana industry minister recently went to some of the top pharmaceutical industry people that if you come, suppose within 30 days we are declaring we are going to give you the approval. If you don't get our approval, you can deem that it has been approved. So these type of deemed approval also has to take serious. Now less regulatory intervention. Now during COVID, all of you have observed the entire government machinery has started proactively working. So what we need is 24/7. Why to wait for the COVID? Every day should be declared as an emergency day because we are a life science industry. We are not a commodity industry. So every day is a serious day and emergent day. So we have to have less regulatory intervention. Now, Sarkar Aapke Dwar. Some of the state government have started opening the regulatory offices and the industry department and drug controller department where the cluster is there. So that concept has to increase. Instead of encouraging individual unit, we should have a cluster scheme. Now, recently, about 2 months back, Haryana government also has come with a cluster scheme that they are going to have. Each district will have a different cluster for different industry. Textile will have in one district, industry will have this automobile will have in another, IT will have another district. So that concept has to be there. Now, when we talk about the ease of doing business, people say that so and so state is number one in ease of doing business, and so state is number two in the ease of doing business. Who is doing the grading of that? Government to government. No. My submission is, if you really want to know whether the ease of doing business by particular state department or by particular department or by particular state is having, that grading should be done by the industry, not by the government to government. That is the real ease of doing business. We talk about the API, we talk about the KSM, we talk about the intermediate, but nobody talks about the excipient, nobody talks about the CRO, nobody talks about the analytical labs, nobody talk about the test houses. These industries are also equally important. The growth has to be from all the four corners. Now we have been talking about all these things. Excipient also plays a vital role. Rather, packaging industry. Packaging industry is another industry which is more than the pharmaceutical industry. So nobody is focusing on that. So there has to be four-cornered attack by the government, by the industry to ensure that all the sector grows simultaneously. Now, 11th point is industry is there. Dr. Dua raised this issue. Academia is there. The boy is there. The girl is there. But there is no Pandit who can arrange the wedding so that they can produce the children. Unfortunate part is we have a science and technology ministry also. But academia is looking for the business partner. Industry is looking for the technical provider. Unfortunately, there is no system. This has been lacking. Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chandigarh, what Dr. Dua said is a cluster where a lot of academia institutions are there, universities are there, colleges are there, and they have the potential, they have the capability, they have the know-how. But unfortunately, there is no proper linkage between these arrangements. So skill development is another area. See, skill development is very much more active in China than in India. We are thankful to Mr. Narendra Modi. He created one skill development ministry about 5 years back during his first regime. And for pharmaceutical industry, we have council also, Life Science Sector Skill Development Council, LSSDC. I'm on the board also. But lot more has to be done for skill development. And interaction between government and industry is less. It is there, but it is less. Need more deliberation. Now, for example, a forum was made when Mr. J.P. Nadda was there, where all the pharma associations were there. We used to go to CDSO, we used to go to DOP, all problems are discussed, deliberated and resolved. But unfortunately, last 10 months, that forum has suddenly disappeared. I don't know what is the reason. So we need to have a serious working on that. Involvement of industry in policy decision is also lacking. Now, for example, some of the consignments were stopped. Suddenly, overnight, hydroxychloroquine stop, paracetamol stop. No, you should take industry into confidence. Industry will also come with the solution. Now, these are the 14 points I have covered. Now, further 6 points, I am going to be more crucial, more critical, but very, very important. Now, lack of unrelated infrastructure is also one of the obstacles in the growth of the industry, such as education. Now, Government of India has come last week with a new education policy. Great achievement, great contribution. But what industry needs, colleges and pharmacy colleges and universities are not able to provide those students. And what students are studying, industry is not able to absorb that. So there's a lack of coordination between industry and the academia for giving the curriculum. So curriculum has to change. Now, Mr. Dr. Gopal Munjal was talking about the banking system. Banking area is another area, is a very painful. Some of the delegates will be a little bit surprised to listen that banking 1924, India had 89 banks. 1947, India had 94 banks. Today, 2020, India still has 94 banks. This bank contains public sector. They are from private bank, foreign bank, scheduled bank, cooperative bank, non-scheduled bank. commercial bank, regional bank, small finance bank. Question is, okay, number of branches have gone up. Neither the number of, see, आज प्रतिस्पर्धा का जमाना है. Today is the life of competitiveness. So if you really want, now neither the banking system has changed, nor the number of banks have changed. This is a very crucial stage where we need to have deliberation, because situation has changed, industry has changed, demand has changed, number of units have changed, population has gone up. Transparency in the banking system is also need of the hour. If you remember why this Nirav Mehta, Vijay Mallya type of embezzlement and frauds are there, because transparency is lacking, involvement of industry is lacking. If banking system has to change, now I come to 17th point, labor area is another area where no one talks. We cannot comply with 100%. I can talk on behalf of almost all my friend colleagues that nobody can really follow 100% rules of labor law. At least 5 to 10% we are able to deviate. There are 1,248 different laws for labor. There are 17 definition of wages. There are almost 22 definition of workers. And there are 19 definition of entrepreneur. Where exactly are we going? So, Atmanirbhar, everybody talks about the Atmanirbhar. Dr. Dinesh Dua also talk about the Atmanirbhar. Wherever we go today, we talk about the Atmanirbhar. That is the self-reliance. But self-reliance is possible only जब हम आए आत्मचिंतन और आत्ममंथन भी हो. आत्ममंथन का मतलब है एनालिसिस, आत्मचिंतन का मतलब है एनालिटिकल एनालिसिस. We can be self-reliant only when we do the analysis and analytical analysis. ये labor law, banking system. Now I come to 18th point. Civil services reform is so overdue in India. I am talking about the bureaucracy. It's a very painful subject, but some people may like, some people may not like it. We have in India 57 ministers. Japan, we have only 9 ministers. US, we have only 14 ministers. UK, we have 22 ministers. We really need performance management in our ministry working, political system. Even bureaucrats need skilling. Now we talk about the industry skilling, worker skilling, operator skilling, and head of the QC skilling. But even the civil services also need to have the skilling. Now, for example, colonel in the army retires at the age of 50 if he is not recommended for further promotion. But in our bureaucratic system in India, there is no such system. One has to retire only at the age of 60. Even I personally feel, these are my personal comments. I'm not trying to represent any association now when I'm speaking. When an IAS officer, a bureaucrat, is touching 56 or 57 age, he becomes secretary to the government of India, or he becomes the chief secretary or additional chief secretary of a state government. Unfortunate part is, at that time, he sees towards his retirement. कि मेरे को तो बड़े शांत प्रिय तरीके से रिटायर होना है ताकि मेरी पेंशन भी सेफ रहे, मेरे ऊपर कोई एलिगेशन भी, because coal secretary had to face the CBI inquiry, he was put behind the bar. I don't know what is the status of that. So the bureaucracy system has to change. If they feel that the person who is at the verge of retirement, he cannot take decision because of his safety of his pension and safety of his old age, he should be on the advisory role. Let young people come in the policy decision. So this needs to have a change. Now, 19th point, that we are very lucky that we have a strong and very decisive leadership today. Indian economy was same size that of China 10 years back. They have been growing at 13% and we have been growing at 7%. 6% deficit is due to fixed cost of democracy. See, it's very good. We are a democratic country. US is a democracy, but some of the other countries are not. But question is, at what cost? Democracy doesn't mean that people or industry or government or bureaucrat or regulator should misuse it. No, that 6% loss is only because of the democracy. 6% deficit is due to the fixed cost of democracy. We created license Raj also. Today also we say it is a liberal society. India has got a liberal policies. No, we still maintain that, what do you call that, license Raj? License Raj has to be reduced down. We have to go for self-administration, self-discipline, self-control, and self-regulation, which are lacking. We created license Raj where our capital became handicapped without labor. and our labor became handicapped without capital. And the symptoms of that are our opening balance today. It took 72 years for India to cross the GDP of England, which has 66 million people, and we have 1.3 billion people. It took 72 years to do that, not because of any cultural reason, but because of the political reasons. Therefore, political system also has to change. Although process of change has started, we are really grateful to the government. The change is there. Concept is changing, thinking is changing, process is changing, but lot more has to change. And last point I come, seriousness is lacking. Seriousness, it is not against the government. I am talking about the industry also, common man also. We are not serious. I will take 2 minutes to give a very, I am trying to deviate from the subject. If you have seen the Mughal-e-Azam movie, in that Mughal-e-Azam movie, it started in 1944. It was released in 1960. 16 saal lage. The reason is producer and director were very serious. It should be one of the top film. They called Tailor from Delhi because of seriousness. Embroider were invited from Surat, and goldsmith were invited from Hyderabad for making the jewelry. Craftsmen were invited from Kolhapur for making the crown, and ironsmith were invited from Rajasthan to make the weapons. Akbar role was given to Prithviraj Kapoor, the most expensive. He was asked that if you really want to become an Akbar, you have to gain weight. Can you believe the movie was deferred for a few months so that Prithviraj Kapoor is able to gain weight? That was the seriousness. Now, question comes, cost of one song. उसमें एक song था प्यार किया तो डरना क्या. The cost of that song was equivalent to the cost of the movie. See the seriousness. So similarly, song was shot in Sheesh Mahal. The Sheesh Mahal cost was 10 million rupee at that time. I'm talking about 1944, 1960. This song was written 101 times. Seriousness. 101 बार इसको लिखा. Iconic battle between Salim and Akbar was there. इसमें 2000 camel थे, camel, and 4000 घोड़े थे, 8000 ट्रुप थे, and कुछ सिपाही आर्मी से बारो किए गए. That is what is called seriousनess. So जोधा भाई बोले कि मेरे को तो कृष्ण भगवान चाहिए. So somebody suggests कि artificial नकली सा बना करके उसके ऊपर gold की coating करा लेंगे. No, director producer said it has to be made of gold. When the movie is over, the gold was given for melting. He said, no, nothing doing. I will take it to, Shah Sahib said, I will take it to my house. Till his last end, he kept that झूला झुलाया उसको. कृष्ण को मुसलमान है, वो कहाँ गया हिंदू मुस्लिम. ये seriousness. So these are some of the things which we don't take seriously. Now I come to API self-reliance subject, what we have been talking, that 68% depending on China. Now there again, I'm going to have 20 parameters. What we need is number one, land, number two, water, power, technology, skilled manpower, unskilled manpower, finance, supply chain, common infrastructure, government support like China gives, economy of scale, some incentives, sewerage system, basic raw materials, solvent, chemical demand, environmental clearance. And last में दो चीजें चाहिए 19वीं 20वीं. एक है निर्णायक भूमिका, decisiveness, where we have been lacking till now. I'm not talking about today. I'm talking few months back. And the last one is willingness. 20th item is willingness. We were not having the willingness. इच्छा शक्ति सरकार के पास भी नहीं थी, इंडस्ट्री के पास भी नहीं थी. But today, वो थोड़ी सी जागृत हुई है. Entire nation should be decisive, and every entrepreneur should have the इच्छा शक्ति, willingness, such to success, to achieve the success for this type of friend. India has made the destiny, and I am quite optimistic because one of the choice India is making is we recognize that wages matter more than jobs. Our problem is not unemployment, it is the productivity. I always have believed that equality of opportunities depend on the infrastructure of opportunity, and the infrastructure of opportunity is not the road or power or water or telecom or flyover. It is that, of course, it is there, but it is 3 E's. Number one, education. Number two, employment. And number three is employability. If we have balance in education, employment, and employability, we can do wonders. Now, country can do wonders. Now, I remember Make in India program when Narendra Modi Sahab was in the Vigyan Bhavan. Lot of pharma top people were there in this program. He said 7M should keep on moving. If 7M keep on moving, India will be really far away. We will be one of the successful country. 1M was money. Second M was machinery. Third was mineral. Fourth was metal. Fifth was manpower. And the sixth was mind. And seventh was material. Therefore, in a week, there are 7 days. If we should ensure that these 7 M keep on moving every day, Prime Minister gave 7 M, and I am recommending one more M. That is the medicine. Because medicine also has to keep on moving to a needy, to the patient. So if we have this last few lines to be remembered, everybody has to remember that we are a life science industry, we are not a commodity industry. Like doctor take the pledge, we should also take a pledge that we are not going to do anything wrong. So if that type of concept, ethics are there, our next generation will listen from us, and doctors will also realize industry is also equally serious. So 52 years back, I heard a song कि मेरे देश की धरती सोना उगले उगले हीरे मोती. आज जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने बोला है, वो भी is talking about the हीरे मोती, mineral, metal. It has to keep on moving. So with these remarks, I think I really feel happy that I have little bit deviated from the subject, but I have spoken from the core of my heart. And anywhere, if all of you agree, if few of you agree, what I have recommended, what I have suggested, my submission to all the participants on the chat box, put yes, we agree with the recommendation of Mr. Sikri. So at least that will give the courage to me to write to the government through, and I will request my other colleague also from various associations to write the government these points, so that government also is in a very positive state of mind. They are ready to listen us, but somebody has to be there to speak. Now, for example, this new policy, Yogin Majumdar Sahib is there in today's audience. We have been talking about the brownfield. Nobody talks. Now from Pennsylvania, it has gone to 7 ACA, has been removed. Like that, there are so many changes. About the anti-dumping, we have been requesting that there should be some protection to the, suddenly if China start dumping. So my humble submission to the audience, that if all of you agree with the recommendation, what I have suggested, I would request the organizer as well as various association head, who are Mahesh Bhai is sitting, who is going to speak about this policy, because I said I am not going to touch the policy, I am going to talk about the general. So that is why I will request Mahesh Bhai, BDMA, IPA, and other association. We will take up this issue, provided I get comments from all of you. Yes, you agree with the recommendation, with the comment given by Mr. B.R. Sikri. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much, Sikri.